Hi everyone, and welcome to today. So I have Ella in my chair today, and she came down to thinking that she wants something different, something new, something fresh. The main request that she gave me was she wants body and lift. So the idea for today is creating layers with movement to really get the hair off the scalp and to sit nice and full. Let's jump right in. So Ella, we're going to cut your hair today. You feeling good?
Yep.
Excellent. So I know you said to me that you wanted, it's really flat, one of the problems you have, and you want to solve that problem of it sitting quite flat. So I know when we chatted, I said we're going to work with some products to get some lift to it, but I also want to work with a haircut to give you a lot of lift. So as we was chatting, we mentioned about layers and fringes. Still happy with those?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So I think the fringe, first of all, just to chat on that, it is going to look really beautiful when it starts to hit the cheekbone and just sort of kick back a little bit to give you lift away from the face. But something that I want you to be able to, brush to the left, brush to the right, be able just to sort of have some movement and some flexibility in how you style it. The biggest thing for me, I think, which will look nice, is when you're sort of brushing it back and you're shaking it and it just looks really natural and just falls down. So, do you blow dry your hair a lot at home?
Somewhat, yeah.
Just sort of with a brush hair dryer.
Like rough.
Nice.
Yeah.
So don't spend a lot of time on your hair. That's what I love it. That's perfect. The less time you spend, the more I have to work with the cut to make it perfect for you. So that's one of the biggest things. I love that. So yeah, I'm not going to make you spend 2 hours blow drying your hair every day. It's going to be nice and simple for you. So we're going to put the fringe in. I'm going to put a bit of shape around the face as well. So you'll see these areas here. I want to start to layer this quite a lot. I know you mentioned to me as well, you wear your hair forward as well as you wear it back. So I want to show you all today actually how to create a perimeter that looks square at the front. So you'll see some density here, some squareness at the front, but also come to a point at the back. And that's going to be really important for us when we think about and understand, and I will show you through the haircut, the proportions that we're going to work with the curvatures of the head. Not just working to the top of the ear, but understanding a bit more about the curvature around the base of the hairline. You'll see that through the video, but hold on and you'll see that in a few minutes. So, layers wise, also I want to put a few around the crown, give you a bit of lift through that. You're happy with that? Excellent, to go from there. So, I think we're good. I know I'm going to go through, put a lot of layers in, work with the fringe, get a lot of body to it, a lot of movement to it, and make it easy for you.
Cool.
Let's get you shampooed. Okay. So today on Ella's hair, we're using the Angel Wash and Rinse from Kevin Murphy. Really beautiful wash to give a nice lot of volume in the hair. So let's keep going. So on Ella's hair today, we said about going through and creating a fringe. I really want to break the haircut down and map it out into a way where we can create a fringe, some shape around the face, but then also focus on the perimeter itself with the detail. I mentioned in the consultation that we're going to work a bit squarer through the front, coming to a point at the back. So I want to show you all of that as we go through. So first I'm going to go through and map the haircut out. I'm going to work a profile parting to start from the center forehead just down to the nape. So let me find that positioning. And knowing that we are going to wear a very soft, loose haircut, I don't want to have to spend too much time focusing on the perfection of the section and patterns. I want an air of connectivity through it all. Okay, so here we go. Here's a profile. I'm going to go through and just work that part in. And then as I come through to the front, I'm going to be focused on really just where my fringe is going to be placed. So I'm going to start looking at the recession area. I'm going to start looking at the curvature of the head because I want the hair to naturally fall forward and then sort of kick back and around. So even if I just comb it to the side, naturally let that hair part, I'm going to start to see that natural parting shine through. And this for me feels really good with that fringe. I think it's going to be a nice sort of full shape around the face. Does that feel too big? That feels good so far?
No, it feels good.
It feels good? Nice, perfect. So really just allowing the contours of the head control where the partings go. Let me repeat the same on the other side, because we may have a slight difference in shape. No, that's pretty good. Slightly further forward, but let me just balance that up for the control. There we go. So my fringe is in place. That for me is the most important thing right now. I'm now going to go through and just focus on the areas around the side of the face. So this we're going to put some shape in, some detail, some smaller areas. I'm going to go through first of all, work from the corner of my fringe, work diagonal back just to the top of the ear. It's a small amount, but it's going to give me a nice perimeter that I can start to detail around the face. Sometimes the smaller areas are really key to work on. We never want to forget them. We also want to make sure we're incorporating in every point we can. So same on the other side, just working down, combing through, and just letting it rest for the moment. We can clip it out of the way if we need to, but at the moment I'm just thinking that's going to be suitable for my shape. Now I want to think about the strength of the perimeter. For me, perimeters are really, really important, and they're really key. So more important than the layering. We will have a lot more layering in Ella's hair today, but the perimeter is going to be one key factor because I want some density there as well. One of the shapes that this haircut is going to create is a bit of an arrow shape, so a lot of layers working through the top and the sides and coming to that point in the back. Actually, we had a comment from one of the subscribers, Ty View. This is one of my most popular followers, which is really nice. And he said to me, you know, can I create a look within this term? So this is why this haircut's getting created. So thank you so much for that recommendation and that comment. Anyone else wants to add anything in? Add it in, and I'll create haircuts for all of what you comment on. So with this, we're going to go through and think about that density in that perimeter. I'm going to comb the hair back so my comb can easily glide through the section I'm working. Mapping the haircut out, this is really, really important. And I'm going to look for the curvature area on the side and naturally follow that contour towards the back. That will give me the shape that I want to work on in that rough position. I've just done it with my finger, but just to show you, I will use my comb in a second. But that density, I think, for me is going to be really important. So as I said, we're going to go through, look around the curvature, because that's going to allow enough hair on top and enough hair below. If we go too low, loads of layers on top will actually make the shape look quite round. I still want a squarer result, so higher up is a little bit more important. Working down, coming to my finger, pinching along the comb and separating. And this will give me enough shape, enough density that I have a nice feeling all the way through to the perimeter. So I'm going to comb this out of the way. Repeat the same technique on the other side. And then we'll do a little final spin, show you that, and off we go. There we go, I've got a lot of hair, so using a nice strong clip. This clips are from Kevin Murphy. You can see the product link in the description below. Like the same technique on the other side, just from the curvature down and around to my finger. And I'll clean up this little bit in a minute. Clip and comb. So as you can see, we'll section off for the fringe, shape around the face, perimeter, and then our layers. So let's start cutting. So I mentioned earlier that I wanted to go through and create a squarer perimeter at the front and work into a point at the back. So very importantly through this technique, I want to go through and just subdivide an area around the curvature. Now, if I spin Ella around here, just tilt the head to the side, you can start to see where the hairline rises up. This curvature around the head is really important. It's going to start to equal the distance between the front and the back. So normally when we work a shape through the front that's quite short to a point at the back, what we find is the tail will come around and show. So it's quite hard to do. But if we start to understand why that happens, where normally we take a part in from the front we take a parting from closer to the front, just above the radial parting, the section of hair here is really small compared to this section at the back. So if we start to adjust that proportion, it starts to become more even from the shape behind to the shape in front. So this section now is going to be square. This section will be a point. When this comes forward, it then sits underneath the square section, allowing you to then have two different perimeters within one haircut. That for myself is allowing us to have strength when we comb it forward, but then brush the hair back and have that all fall down to the middle. So a way that we can create two different perimeters on one head of hair. I'm going to go through and part on both sides. I'm going to comb that down. I'm going to go and get my scissors. I'm going to comb all the way down to the front. And lengthwise I want to work on is probably taking about an inch or so, or a couple of inches off through the length at the front, because we do want to start to layer all of the shape through here. Ella, how's this length for you? That feels safe to take it to?
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect. So we're going to go through and point cut. Just back and forth, letting the short hair push the long hair in different directions, create a nice little texture. It is a lower point cut, but it's still creating, again, that stronger perimeter. So we're going to comb down to the shoulder, work in front, find my guide, and then again point cut through here. Back and forth, creating that strong shape. Comb down, let's check my guide. I'm hoping a little bit longer on my right. Yes, always safer to start and work up to it than it is to go straight in and cut that off. So let's recut this a bit more. I like to work a bit safer, because if we just go straight to it and then I'm shorter here, shorter here, shorter here, shorter there, and before you know it, you've got bob. And we don't want that. So, we're keeping keeping it safe. Tiny little bit more off here, then we'll be good to move forward. So just being a little bit more cautious and consistent for my client, for me, is really, really important as we move on through. There we go, let's check that through at the front. Guide's placed in, perfect, great length. So now, when I comb that to the back, and you can start to see this shape through the back already. So as we can see through the camera angle here, I'm going to bring this round, Matt, just so you can see here. You stay where you are. You can now start to see from those corners we've got two shapes either side. This allows us then continue through that guide to the center, creating a point through the back, and then this won't be long enough when it comes through to the front. As you can see here, it's going to sit underneath the perimeter. So you won't have that tail coming out through the front, allowing us again to have the goal of 2 points of a haircut all the way through. And we spin the shape around, rid of those loose hairs, have fun. You can start to see no long little tassels, it's still nice and strong through the front. So a brilliant way to create a double perimeter, square at the front, working to a point at the back. Use that in your other haircuts, use it as another technique, you're gonna love it. Real fun one to work. So let's continue to move on. I'm now going to go through and to incorporate my layers around the face. So, now come on in nice and close for this one. We're going to comb down. I'm going to cut up very close to the face. I'm going to start to release that hair. This will really shatter that front. So I can work a layer within the face, but without going through and taking a lot of that strength away. So remember, the idea was to keep a corner, so when it falls forward, it sits nice and square, but to have a lot of layers. By working that technique, what happens now is I get a lot of movement around the face, but still maintain that density and that squareness in the front. Let me show you again on this side. So as we can see, I've got my corner, comb down, squeeze together, ribbon the hair so it condenses, cut up from the underneath, remove the hair first, go through, cut some more, remove, and continue this same technique all the way through. This technique is designed that It's designed to not be too even, be very natural, be very soft. It's not designed to have something which is really symmetrical. So the softer the shape becomes, the more uneven and natural it is, the more fun we get to have. As you can start to see, we've got layer, 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 layer. So when that starts to shake and move, lots of beautiful results. Again, just cascading down to my corner at the back. There we go. Okay. Ella, should we work on the fringe now, or should we do the layers? What do you think?
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want. That's it. I've got the feel, I've got the flow. You can see I'm enjoying it. So let's keep it going. I think I'm going to work on the fringe as we're right here and put the layers in last.
Sounds good.
Let's go for it. So I'm going to work with a bit of elevation through Ella's fringe today. So I'm going to be working through, first of all, just a profile section in the front. So again, just an initial first guide. I'm going to pick that up. So comb from the roots, elevate nice and high. I'm going to point cut just from the outside edge working in, so short hair on top of long hair towards the face. Going to get a little bit deeper as I transfer in. That shape's looking good. The length is going to start to fall down and then kick towards those outsides. So within that now, I'm going to over direct those sides to the center. Way up, find that corner, remove that corner. The other direction where I've combed it across to the side will give me the length to that side. I am going to go through and rework it in a horizontal fashion just in a second, but for the moment that's sitting good around that face. Re-establish. For camera angle purposes, I'm going to stay on this side. I'm going to comb towards the middle, up, and point that corner off. Letting the hair actually fall into the scissors rather than trying to chase it. So as I'm holding the hair, I'm combing up and in, and let's sit nice and strong. Again, longer towards that corner, fall into the outside. Going to be a little bit shorter on this one. There we go. But most importantly, focusing on cutting from the outside edge, from the front into the middle. So what I'm creating again is that short hair on top of the long, short hair on top of the long, allowing the hair to kick out as it lays down. Sort through to the front. That's looking good around the face. And now I'm going to go through and break it up. You may have seen in some other videos going through and actually taking a center section out and softening through that. I'm going to do a similar technique, but I'm not going to work by removing that shorter area through the center just because of the density. I'm going to go through it and just focus on breaking up the hair that we've got. So I'll be doing it in all three sections, combing forward, going from the outside into the middle, and then thinning out a little bit deeper internally as we go. Allowing that to be nice and soft around the face. I don't want a full fringe, something short. I want something, again, as I mentioned earlier, we can move, it can kick, it can fall around the face, blend in. Just with Ella's features, I don't want to go through and make anything too big, too prominent. I want it soft. I want to flick it to the left, to the right, so it can just sort of start to move and sit in all these different directions. The softer and looser it can be, the better it will be for Ella at home when she's drying her hair. So next section, re-establish, work forward. Trick here, I'm not going to incorporate it into the fringe below. I'm going to work each section separate. That way they're going to clash with the textures, giving me more volume, giving me more movement and more separation. Same thing again. I've got a really nice shape. I'm just going to enhance that a little bit into the center. And then let's go through and break that up. Being cautious as well with the density of Ella's hair, not to cut in too much and not to just cut too free. one of the biggest things that we might find is just through force of habit, we go in and just start cutting, where I want to start to look at the density areas that sit a bit fuller, a bit thicker, and start to remove the weight in those. So being very cautious with every scissor strike that it has a purpose and it has a place. Last section with the fringe. See here, looking really good. So I don't need to enhance that shape much. I'm just going to go through and just detail those edges a little bit, just to break up so it has continuity between all of those sections. Comb that out, comb that down. I'm going to look for those smiles from Ella as we go through to lay it. So now she's got some more layers in there. There's the smiles that we like to see. We love those grins, perfect. I'm constantly always looking for my clients' facial expressions and what happens with when I'm styling their hair. Are they liking what they're seeing? Are they not? So I'm always looking at things like that, which is always fun. So as you can see here, even if we wear that natural centre parting that Ella wears, you can see those softer areas, little bits of detail around the face, just beautifully sort of cascading back. Nothing too set, nothing too strong. But again, if we want to flick it to the side, if we're brushing it back, it can just sort of sit soft, find its natural parting, natural way. And no matter how we wear it, it's just going to sit beautiful all the time for us. Very simple, very easy and very effective. A beautiful result on the fringe. Okay, killing it, we're doing great, we're getting through, that's it. Layers, perimeters, lengths, we've got all the foundations sitting here now. And instantly we can start to see a bit more lift around the roots as well, which has been one of the biggest goals that we've had through the creation of this haircut. But finally, let's go through, put the main focus in, the layers. Okay, so how I'm going to cut the layers is we're going to start from the front, and we're going to comb everything everything forward to that point of the front. So we're going to work with over direction, starting from the back through to the front. So it's going to be shorter here, long towards the back. Our guide to length is going to be what we're seeing already. So you're seeing this beautiful shape happening. We're going to complement this with the layers as they fall towards the back. So we can work on one side first or work both sides together. I'm going to comb both down. I'm going to start with a guide on both sides, get my balance, and then just work one side alternate as we transfer through. And you're probably thinking, well, what's this guide to length going to be? How short are them layers how short the layers going to be? What's going to happen here? Fun thing, we can do whatever we want. We can disconnect, we can cut loads of hair off, we can get all crazy with it. We're going to be quite consistent. So I'm going to just have a guide from the fringe maybe as a guide to length, using the face shape more importantly to let sort of sit around about jawline, cheekbone area. And then I want to get longer towards the outside. So I will be working and increasing length. So elevating the hand up, elevating the arm up, finding that guide again, cutting from the outside, point cutting down to that center. Let's check all of that first of all. So let's look in the mirror, see the layers, see the shape towards that perimeter. Honestly, we can cut it a bit shorter, so let's do it. And it's like, yeah, of course you can cut it shorter. Go for it, go for it. See, I knew you'd like it, I knew you'd like it. Let's re-establish that guide. Work up higher, find that shape, and then work forward. Again, always so important to be checking the mirror, checking what you're doing, why you're doing it, is it working, is it not, what's happening. All of that stuff is really, really, really key. But most importantly, I want the short hair on top of the long hair as it falls down to the side. That way, it's a bit easier to blow dry, less personalization when I finish all those details. Checking out, checking my length. That's sitting really good, complementing that fringe, complementing them layers. So if you can see here, that's a beautiful length for me, which is blending into all of the hair around that shape there. You can see fringe, layers, all blending in, working really well. Let's repeat that profile, that guide on the other side. So I'm going to take a slight guide from the opposite side. Going to comb up, find that guide, I'm going to tilt the hair forward. point cut through to that corner. Again, using the way I comb the hair to control the hair, letting it fall through my fingers, combing out away from where I'm cutting. That way I can again control the hair more and cut towards my guide on that side. That little corner off there. Drop that down, that's sitting good. Put the guide back on that side. Let's have a little look at those layers. Checking the balance. A little bit longer on my right side, that's good, that's safe, that's cautious. There we go. So let's go ahead and just take a tiny bit more through here. And as you can see my point cut, my scissor strike, I'm being very cautious as I'm working through. I'm not always going through and just chomping away and cutting. I'm being very delicate, very light. Every cut has a purpose. Sometimes I'll close the blade fully, sometimes I won't. If I'm removing length or removing weight, will all depend on the shape and the finish. With hair type like Ella's, actually working through and not cutting the length off straight away is a nicer result because it gives you more of a softer feel. It doesn't close the blade and give you a sharp line. It blends it soft, makes it softer. So it's just a nice way to work with such straight hair. I'm going to comb forward, and we're now going to follow that guide. So this way, where we're over directing towards the front, so longer, it's going to end up with longer in the back and shorter in the front. And we will follow that same guide. Find our guide and just work to it. Rinse and repeat. This continuity, this section now, is really key, that we can start to see the build-up of shape that's happening and start to see the creation of the layers and all the separation. Where we are working with such discipline, again, but we're not trying to create something which is connected. We want it to be soft, fluid, and natural. Last section. Here we go. Comb forward this whole section. There we go. Point cut. To finish. So let's comb that down, check that out. Just want to start to see where we're going with it. Leave it to the perimeter. Layers are looking good all the way through. Repeat on the other side. So on this side, hand position's changing. Comb forward again. Make sure we can see our guide through our fingers. Comb the hair back, and then just, I'm leaning over so you can all see, but just working through. To that guide. How you doing? Are you doing good? Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay. Layers are in, shape's in. Now we just go through and cross-check. So we've got to make sure that the haircut's all good, it's all balanced. As we disconnect the layers from the perimeter, we're going to comb down, comb everything forward, just check the perimeter edge there, make sure that's nice and clean and connected. Check the back. Then I am going to go through just initially through this top, through the center parting, and just cut into a little bit more, just to break up a bit more length over the top. So we're starting just to get a bit more lift, especially around the crown area. So when Ella does dry her hair, she gets that softness happening all the way through. So let's go through and just do our final checks before we dry. It's where we were over-directing nice and high to maintain that strong shape. We can start to see we've got a little overhang through. Here it just connects beautifully and again create that ultimate texture that we've been after. And after anything too perfect, we want the softness, we want that texture all the way through. Just a tiny bit through the back. There we go. Looking lovely. All right. Final thing, let's go through and cut into the top. Crown area, a little bit of lift, then we'll be ready to blow dry. So as we can see, a nice guide, balance is in there. We just want to break up. As we consistently have worked through the fringe, we're just going to do the same through the haircut itself. Not changing the shape, but just thinning out and softening towards that front. Last section around the crown. And here we go. I'm just going to subdivide this so we can maintain some extra length. And that, when I show the shape at the back, if you come around and see this now, just by breaking those layers up, you can now just start to see that beautiful shape working down. And then just take your head back for me ever so slightly. There we go, perfect. So these layers, movement, cascading all the way to that point. Okay. So, hair's been removed. Get a little flick off here, give that a little flick. Perfect, get rid of all that hair. We don't need that anymore, that stuff's old. So, with the shape in place, let's go through the blow dry. We're gonna use a nice blow dry lotion, give some strength to the hair, a little bit of volume to it, so that we can just spray in very light and really work with that rough dry without spending too much time and effort within the blow dry. We're going to go through and check the haircut once we finish, just by pointing the perimeters, the ends, just to make sure there's nothing that's going to stand out. And then we'll be done and show the finish. So let's get blow drying.
It smells good. It smells like coconut. Yeah,
it's a great smell, isn't it? This is the Hair Result Spray from Kevin Murphy. Going to give you those tussle textured waves as we dry it. Just going to give you that nice little hold, little body, without having to do too much to the hair itself. As I dry, I'm going to work through with a high heat to make the hair swell, give it a nice little volume, but a low speed. I don't want to shake the hair, create a lot of frizz. And again, the higher speed on such smooth hair will make it sit a bit flatter because you're going to go through and smooth that cuticle. I want it still to maintain a little bit of roughness to it. So lower speed, we're really working it, sort of massaging it in to get a little bit of movement into the hair is going to be really key. I want to use the nozzle, the director to it, because I want to get into the roots and really power through that strength. But using my hand just to sort of scrunch as I dry. And as you can see, just by even letting the product dry in the hair now, it's getting that little bit of wave to it, that natural feel that I'm after. So again, a soft, slower blow dry with a nice lot of heat is going to be really beneficial to the result and the finish. And that's how you do it at home as well. Like get the product in there, scrunch a little bit, sort of dry the roots. Yeah.
I would put it on full speed to get it over with.
So even if you take that off and you just do circular motions, your hair's so smooth anyway, it doesn't need the speed. So just focus on sort of, if you can, spray some product in, scrunch it, even sort of grab an area, tie it up and just leave it. And that will really help you to get the lift at the roots, because that's where you want it. Yeah. And as you see, as I'm drying, I'm keeping the dryer moving, keeping the hand sort of scrunching it through, not letting it settle or sit. Your hair is actually quite heavy when it has a lot of water to it, so it's going to pull it down quite easily. So even spraying more product on when it's dry will give you a little bit more lift as well. So when you do product at home, try not to put it on when the hair's too wet, put it on when the hair's a bit drier. A little bit of lift off the face there for you. That's it, yeah. And that's mainly just because of how I've been drying it, like sort of drying that front, scrunching it, and you can even sort of push that forward and give that a little dry, and it just sort of sticks up a little bit. So little sort of tricks that are really going to help you with the lift. You don't really need a brush, once dry it like this until the hair's fully dry, and then maybe just grab a brush just to work the ends. And don't worry about drying the roots on mid lengths, because you're doing that now. This is how you're doing it. The ends you want to smooth, obviously, because we always want smooth ends. But everywhere else you can be a bit more relaxed with at home. So just going through, combing the hair down, and just looking for anywhere where I think I might need to cut into it, just adjust any layers, any long bits, any short bits, any bits that I need to just detail. I can just start to look for those as I'm working through the haircut. By understanding how the scissors enter the hair and where we cut from outside edge in into the middle, that eliminates a lot of the issues that you can come across when you're cutting with discrepancies afterwards of steps or lines that can appear. So understanding that within your cutting approach to your layering and to your cuts is really, really key for simplicity and elegance of finish. So if I can just sort of see that beautiful layer moving down, those layers just falling back. And just that really nice, effortless shape towards that corner. That's the smile. See that little that organic one that just goes, yeah, that's good. Love those. There we go. Ella, how'd you like it?
I love it.
Love it, perfect.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted.
Oh, love that. Exactly as she wanted. Happy client, awesome haircut. Love the result. Really effortless, just a great finish. So just as a recap for the overall cut itself, subdivided a fringe, subdivided an area around the front, and the perimeter also as well. We went through and point cut the perimeter, understanding the curvature on the head first of all. Went through, cut square, dropped it back, and then worked to the point to the center. Drop that forward, drop the sides down and cut up into those to give myself a little bit of movement, a little bit of detail just around the front of the face, and then incorporated the fringe. Again, everything up nice and high, short to long, combed down and just broke into for a lot more movement to it so it can move and be very soft. Internal layers, horizontal sections, combed forward, shorter in the center, longer on the outside. Everything was combed forward to that point, and again, recut afterwards to take some weight out internally, and then dried just to create some beautiful texture. And I love that you like it. Everyone, hope you like it as well. Hope you like the education, the tips, the tricks, the techniques. Please like, subscribe, and look out for some more content on the channel. Thanks so much.